Hi guys, James in Vegas here. Today's video is actually going to be a little different. I live in a 175 square foot micro studio in downtown Las Vegas, and one of the hardest things besides living in such a small space is cooking in a small space. I do cook with my limited setup here. We got the 2 burners, cutting board. This is a air filter, but I do cook. I cook bacon, eggs, steak, chicken. I cook pretty much everything. We don't have an oven. So that's the only thing I can't do is cook in an oven, but everything else I can cook. I cook just fine. Today's going to be a very simple recipe, though. Today's what I'm going to call sausage and potatoes, even though it's a little bit more than that. And it's all going to be done in a crock pot. So this is some of the simplest cooking you could possibly do inside a small studio, any kind of small space, really, for like an RV or a van or a micro studio like this. The only thing I use to cook in today is the crock pot. It's going to take about 4 to 6 hours. We have a loud motorcycle going by. I got my window open, which is one of the keys to cooking in a small space, so you don't set off the alarms. The other one is to turn on a vent fan. If you have a vent fan that pulls out steam or anything like that from a shower, and also the air filter here. So I have all this on. I have my window open, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. This isn't a stew per se, but it could be. I don't put that much liquid in it because I don't want it to be a stew, but you could definitely turn this into a stew. So let me go ahead and get my crock pot out and get going. So since I live by myself and with my dog, I have this little crock pot. I mean, I don't know how big it is exactly, but it's good for a couple of portions. You know, but does it say inside there? It does not. Anyway, it's good for a couple of portions. There's my fist, and you can see. And you'll see how much food I actually get to put in here. So I'm just going to set this over here out of the way. The first step I'm going to do is I'm going to do some potatoes. So the potatoes, I just do like the old, I think the russet potatoes, the baking potatoes. I'm going to do those. Now I don't have a potato peeler or anything, so I just use my paring knife. I mean, it's not the most efficient when it comes to peeling a potato, but you know what? It works. Sort of. You know, you can use a paring knife for a potato peeler, and potato peeler get better results, faster results. You can even leave the skin on. In this particular one, I don't want to leave the skin on, just because I like the flavor of it without the skin. We're going to use some Polish sausage, some kielbasa, I think it is. That's already pre-cooked. So, I mean, this really doesn't take much. The longest it takes to cook is the potatoes. And, I mean, I'm not going to get, like, real fancy with it and take all the peelings off. I don't care if I miss a little or not, but, you know, you can just do whatever you like. I do take out any black spots, but I don't think there's really many on this one. So the key is this, you know, I live down here. I also work down here. So what I do is I make my lunches the night before in a crock pot sometimes, if I'm not making something, you know, better. But if I'm going to take my crock pot meal, I'm going to go ahead and cook it the night before, and then, you know, let it cook for 6 hours or so, depending on what I'm cooking, actually. And then I just take it to work with me in a reusable container from like one of the cold cut sandwiches, or the cold cut meats that I make sandwiches out of. Just reuse those so I don't have to have like a bunch of Tupperware or anything like that. So the trick to getting this to taste good, and actually getting any food to taste good, is seasoning. You know, and you know, other techniques like proper cooking. So like if you're cooking a steak, you don't want to overcook it or undercook it. But seasoning is extremely important. And I do a lot of seasoning on this particular one. So let me go ahead and let's slide this back up here so you can see me dump everything in. So I'm going to put the potatoes in first. And then I'm just going to kind of build up layers based on what needs to cook longer and what doesn't cook longer. And when I say longer, they're all going to cook the same. It's just that it's going to be a little hotter near the bottom because that's where the heating element is on this particular crock pot. I don't think there's any heating element on the side at all. So So let me grab my spices and some of the other things I'm going to put in, which is actually quite a bit. But believe me, if you follow this, you're going to love it. It's really delicious. So first thing you got to do is salt and pepper. I mean, you have to salt and pepper pretty much everything. And don't be scared. I mean, it sounds like I'm putting a lot in, but that's just for the potatoes. Everything else, I'm not going to put any more salt in. All the salt's going to come from, like the sriracha that I'm going to put in, some of the soy sauce. So there's some salt and pepper. I'm going to just put a quick splash of the sriracha. A couple tablespoons of soy sauce. I do like a little spicy, so I'm going to put some cayenne pepper, some paprika, and I'm actually putting some turmeric in it. And you'd think it's a potatoes and sausage dish and not like Indian food or anything, but it's more for the benefits of the turmeric. But the flavor, it really comes out amazing. Another key when you're cooking in a small space, put everything back the second you're done with it and clean up as you go. Otherwise, you're going to have a complete mess. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put some garlic in on this layer just because I want it to get embedded into the potatoes as it's cooking. And I do love garlic, so I'm going to put 1 clove in this time. I put the last one I made, I put like 2 cloves in, and it was really, really, really garlicky. No, that little knife is too small for me for this. So I do go through a couple knives. Don't eat that, Stella. You don't want it. It's going to be spicy. So I just mince this up. I do eat the garlic, so I don't want to pull it out, but I don't want a big-ass bite of the garlic. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, honestly, but this way I can have little bites of garlic all throughout the dish. So let's just scoop that up in there and toss it in. Next thing I'm going to put in is some red onion. And I put it in this layer again because it's hard. It's going to take a while to get soft and cook down. You don't need a lot, but I like onion, like a lot. So I'm just going to chop through this real quick. And there's no measurements, honestly. Just like tablespoon here, tablespoon there. However much onion you like, put that onion in. I like onion, I like meat, potatoes, onion, spices. There's really not much food I don't like. There's some pretty bizarre to me anyway, like Asian dishes that I won't eat, like balut. You never had balut and don't know what balut is, look it up. That's something I could never eat. And these are just going to be rough cut. This is a real rustic type of dish, but it's really delicious. If you make this, if you like potatoes and sausage, you're going to love this. That's a lot of onion, so if you don't like that much onion, you probably don't want to put it in. But let me show you what it's looking like already. So, I mean, that's potato onion right now, so we're about to add some more stuff. Again, you got to constantly be cleaning your area and keeping everything organized. Otherwise, it's just going to be a terrible mess. So yeah, this is Polish kielbasa with natural casing. It's actually fully cooked. I'm just going to probably, because I'm putting mushrooms and some cherub tomatoes in there, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to actually cook. Let me see how much this is. At least half of it, that I know. But like I said, it is fully cooked, so you can take a bite of it right now if you want to get the taste and the flavor of it, so you know if you want to add anything else to it. I'm just going to kind of make them a little smaller, so they'll sink through, and I'll have bites of sausage with pretty much every other bite. And again, these are just going to be rough cut. I mean, I'm not making a fancy dinner. No one else is going to see it, you know. So it's just good food with some sustenance for me and keep me warm. You know, I work outside sometimes, so I want to make sure I eat something warm. Yeah, I think I might actually put the whole thing in. Let's see. Cutting up smaller, you can get your pieces, you know, a little deeper in the crock pot, so you're able to put more things in the crock pot. Oh yeah, no, I forgot. I got to add something else, so I don't want to put too much more in there. Yeah, that's going to be it. So I forgot. I'm going to add some green beans. And you know, green bean season's come and gone a little bit. So I'm just going to do canned green beans, but I've always liked canned green beans. As an adult, as a child, I hated them. I think they were, you know, made from the devil or something. But as an adult, I love green beans. I'm going to try something different, though. I'm going to do some Italian green beans. I'm not sure what Italian green beans means, but I've never really had it. I'm hoping it has like other seasonings in there, like oregano and things like that. But we'll see. I'm going to add a little bit of water to this whole thing in addition to the soy sauce and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and drain these green beans out because I don't want all that juice from the green beans. But regular water is okay. Matter of fact, I'll add these green beans and then I'll just put some water in this can. Don't want to put all the water in there. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just like, I don't know, maybe an inch or so at the most. Oh, okay, so those are Italian green beans. It's always good to taste what you're about to do, too, because what if I don't like them? Okay. I can deal with those. Those are pretty tasty. I'm just going to drop this whole can in, honestly, because I got to get my beans somehow, right? Yeah, she's already full. I'm glad I didn't put any more meat in there. All right, so let me go ahead and put a little bit of water in here. And I have a filter that's attached to the faucet. So it's actually filtered water. It's probably going to come out as a stew now that I'm looking at it. So these cherub tomatoes, not too bad. I already washed them earlier when I got them. Ah! So definitely make sure you wash them. I went through a batch the other day, and because I eat them as a snack also. But I went through a batch the other day, and there was actually mold growing in it at the store. Wasn't real happy about that. They're pretty good, though. They're really sweet. So I'm just going to put those on top. Yeah, glad I didn't put any more meat in there because that one's pretty full. So let me go ahead and, mushrooms. I do like mushrooms too. These are just a white, pre-cut, make it simpler for me. I can eat everything raw almost. And I'm just going to pile it on. Just put enough until I can make sure that the lid will close down on it. It does sink a little as it gets hot. Here's my lid. There it is. Yeah, that's all right. So I'm going to top a little bit off with some more salt and pepper, but just a little bit of salt, not much, because we added a lot of those root vegetables, or roots. I guess you wouldn't call them root vegetables, right? Potato and the mushrooms, they're going to absorb a lot of that flavor. All right. Again, every time you're done with something, you got to put it away in a small space. Otherwise, you're going to run out of space. You're not going to be able to do anything. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. I'm going to turn it on high for about 5-6 hours. And that's it, guys. I mean, that's how you make a simple meal. In a crock pot in a small space, there really isn't much more to it. This, you don't have to do anything else to this now. Normally when you're cooking like in a skillet or something, you want to go make sure all your clothes are covered with a blanket, not a blanket, a curtain. That way the smell doesn't permeate through everything. Also make sure your bed is up. If I have a Murphy bed, of course, and make sure that bed is up so that way the smell isn't going. But this here, I mean, you really aren't going to get smoke per se. You will get a lot of scent and a lot of fragrance and odor, but it doesn't linger like you would if you were cooking on a skillet or something like that. So I'm going to let this go for about 6 hours, 5-6 hours, and then it'll be ready to go. And I appreciate you guys watching, and thank you so much for everyone watching my channel. I do appreciate everything, all the comments. I've been getting a lot of comments lately, a lot of likes, and a lot of subscribers. So keep it up. It's greatly appreciated, and the more I can get, the more I'll be able to produce. Again, thanks, guys.